I still remember the exact moment I first saw that digital alert on my phone, a simple message that would forever alter the course of my everyday existence. I was sitting in my small, dimly lit apartment, a space filled with the comforting clutter of books, scattered notes, and memories of past adventures. It was an ordinary Tuesday morning, the kind of morning when routine seemed to settle in like a familiar, albeit sometimes stifling, blanket. Yet that day, as I sipped my lukewarm coffee and mechanically scrolled through notifications, one particular alert broke through the monotony. The message read, "Digital alert, confirmed secret reservations at upscale venues and intimate, forbidden dinners." There was something undeniably magnetic about the phrase, a whisper of mystery and seduction that instantly ignited a flame of curiosity deep within me. I had always prided myself on being an inquisitive soul, a seeker of hidden truths in the undercurrents of life. My career as a freelance journalist had taught me to trust my instincts and to be ready for the unexpected. Over the years, I had pursued stories that delved into the labyrinth of human emotions, corporate intrigues, and the delicate interplay of power and vulnerability. But this message was unlike anything I had ever encountered. It was not an invitation, nor was it a call for a breaking news tip. It was something else entirely, a cryptic key to a world that existed just beyond the well-lit paths of everyday life. After staring at the message for what felt like an eternity, I decided that I had to follow its lead. My heart pounded in a mix of excitement and apprehension as I grabbed my worn leather jacket and the battered notebook that had accompanied me on countless journeys. I left my apartment without a clear plan, driven solely by the tantalizing promise of uncovering something hidden and extraordinary. As I stepped out into the early morning light, the city was just beginning to stir, its streets gradually filling with the echoes of daily life. Yet beneath the familiar hum of routine, I sensed that a secret narrative was waiting to be discovered. The digital alert had included a set of coordinates, a precise address that led me to one of the less conspicuous parts of the city. I navigated through narrow alleys and over busy streets, my senses alert to every detail. The address brought me to an inconspicuous building nestled between modern glass towers and historic brick facades. At first glance, it seemed like any other upscale establishment, its polished exterior and subtle architectural elegance designed to blend into the refined urban landscape. However, as I approached the entrance, a peculiar energy radiated from the unassuming door. There was no visible sign or grand display, just a discreet, almost secretive, entryway that invited only the truly curious. I hesitated for only a moment before stepping inside, the air immediately shifting from the cold bite of the morning to a warm, enveloping ambience. The interior was a study in contrasts, a blend of modern minimalism and hints of an era long past. Soft, ambient lighting created gentle shadows that danced across sleek surfaces, while carefully arranged artwork and antique furnishings whispered of bygone nights filled with clandestine whispers and unspoken promises. I felt as though I had stepped into a hidden world where every detail had been meticulously curated to evoke both elegance and mystery. Everywhere I looked, there were subtle clues hinting at the nature of the gathering. Ornate mirrors reflected flickering candlelight, and the soft strains of a classical melody drifted through the space, inviting guests into a realm of refined indulgence. I could see groups of elegantly dressed people engaged in quiet conversation, their expressions a mixture of delight, secrecy, and a touch of defiance. It was clear that this was no ordinary social affair. It was a carefully orchestrated event designed to blur the lines between desire and decorum, between public persona and hidden passion. I found a secluded corner near a large window, where the city's skyline provided a silent witness to the unfolding scene. From that vantage point, I observed couples and individuals moving gracefully through the room, each interaction carrying an air of deliberate intimacy. There was an unspoken code at work, a language of glances, subtle smiles, and whispered exchanges that conveyed more than words ever could. I was both an outsider and an intruder in this secret narrative, my presence unnoticed yet intensely recorded in my mind and notebook. As the hours passed, I became increasingly aware of the intricate dance of social rituals taking place around me. I noted the careful choreography of introductions, the way that every handshake, every lingering look, was imbued with a sense of meaning far beyond casual courtesy. I listened to conversations that touched on subjects so delicate and charged with emotion that they seemed to belong to another realm altogether, a realm where the usual constraints of societal expectations melted away, leaving only raw, unfiltered human connection. There was laughter that resonated with the soft promise of mischief, and pauses that spoke of hidden depths and unspoken agreements. I could not help but feel that I was witnessing something profound, a glimpse into a subculture of secrecy and allure that few ever experienced firsthand. I found myself drawn into a state of heightened awareness, my every sense attuned to the nuances of the environment. The ambient hum of conversation, the clink of fine glassware, even the faint scent of exotic perfumes. All these elements combined to create a tapestry of sensory details that was both intoxicating and overwhelming. I recalled previous encounters with hidden societies and clandestine gatherings, but none had ever felt as immediate or as vivid as this one. There was an almost palpable electricity in the air, a sense of anticipation that tingled on the skin and vibrated in the silence between heartbeats. In the midst of this sensory overload, I realized that I had become both an observer and a participant in a narrative that was as elusive as it was captivating. The digital alert that had beckoned me here was not simply a message, it was a doorway into a secret realm where the ordinary transformed into the extraordinary, where the boundaries between reality and fantasy blurred in the flicker of candlelight. Every moment was a discovery, every glance a potential revelation. I felt as if I were standing at the threshold of a profound mystery, one that promised to unravel the hidden layers of society and reveal the intricate interplay of desire, power, and vulnerability. Time seemed to slow as I absorbed the scene around me. The rhythmic flow of conversation and movement created a sense of timelessness, as if I had stepped into a moment suspended between past and future. I observed a group of individuals seated around a polished table, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of a crystal chandelier. Their expressions were guarded yet open, a paradoxical blend of reservation and invitation. One of them, a woman with a striking presence and an air of quiet authority, caught my eye. Her gaze was steady, as if she were aware of the secrets that bound us all together, and for a brief moment, I felt as though our eyes communicated a silent understanding. It was as if she was silently acknowledging the thrill of being part of something extraordinary, something that defied the constraints of everyday life. The more I watched, the more I realized that this gathering was not merely a social event, but a carefully constructed performance, a living tableau of human emotion and clandestine ritual. Each person seemed to be playing a role, their interactions choreographed by an invisible hand that wove together threads of longing, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of intimacy. In that space, the usual barriers between strangers melted away, replaced by an unspoken willingness to embrace the unknown and the forbidden. I felt a profound sense of connection to the scene before me, as if I were witnessing a microcosm of life itself. A world where every smile, every touch, and every whispered secret carried the weight of unspoken promises and hidden dreams. I spent what felt like hours immersed in this world, my mind racing with questions and possibilities. Who had organized this enigmatic affair? What secrets lay hidden behind the polished veneer of luxury and elegance? And most importantly, what did it all mean for someone like me, a solitary wanderer in search of truth, always teetering on the edge of discovery and oblivion? These questions swirled in my thoughts like fragments of a puzzle waiting to be assembled, each piece a tantalizing glimpse into a realm that defied simple explanation. In the midst of my inner turmoil, the evening began to shift subtly. The conversations took on a more intimate tone, and the laughter grew softer, as if the participants were aware that the night was gradually drawing them deeper into a shared enigma. I found myself increasingly drawn to the interplay of light and shadow, the way that the interplay of the two seemed to mirror the duality of the human experience. The interplay of public persona and private passion, of societal expectation and the raw, unvarnished truth of our innermost desires. It was then, in a moment of rare clarity, that I realized the true gravity of my decision to follow that digital alert. I was not merely an observer, I had become an integral part of an unfolding drama, a participant in a narrative that promised to peel back the layers of conventional existence and reveal the hidden truths of our shared humanity. My heartbeat quickened as I committed myself to the journey ahead, knowing that what I was about to witness would forever alter the way I perceived the world around me. As I took a slow, deliberate step forward, mingling subtly with the other guests, I felt the weight of anticipation and possibility settle upon my shoulders. Every conversation I overheard, every whispered exchange, became a piece of a larger mosaic, a mosaic that depicted the intricate, often painful interplay of desire, secrecy, and the yearning for connection. I engaged in brief, carefully measured interactions with those around me, each encounter a delicate dance of words and glances that hinted at stories untold. In one instance, I found myself conversing with a gentleman whose eyes betrayed a lifetime of unspoken regrets and hidden passions. His voice, low and resonant, recounted tales of nights spent in the shadows of glittering opulence, of moments when life had taken unexpected turns that left him both haunted and exhilarated. I remember vividly the way the city's nocturnal pulse merged with the rhythm of that secret gathering. Outside, the world carried on in its relentless pursuit of normalcy, while inside, time seemed to be measured not in minutes or hours but in the quiet intensity of shared experiences. The clinking of fine china, the rustle of silk dresses, and the gentle murmur of clandestine confessions blended into a symphony of subtle emotions. In those moments, I realized that life was not defined solely by the mundane or the predictable. Rather, it was punctuated by flashes of brilliance, moments when the veil between reality and fantasy was lifted, even if only for a fleeting heartbeat. As the evening wore on, the sense of intimacy grew ever stronger. I found myself drawn into conversations that transcended the superficial, exploring themes of vulnerability and the human condition in a way that felt both raw and cathartic. There was an undeniable authenticity in the way each guest revealed a fragment of their inner self, a testament to the trust that permeated this hidden enclave. I listened intently, my own heart resonating with the echoes of their experiences, each narrative a thread that contributed to the rich tapestry of life being woven before my eyes. In the midst of the unfolding drama, I couldn't help but wonder if fate had orchestrated this entire evening. Perhaps the digital alert was more than a random anomaly. It might have been a deliberate summons, an invitation for someone like me, who had spent years navigating the shadows of society, to step into the light of a deeper understanding. I felt a surge of gratitude for that mysterious message, for it had led me to a night of revelations that would forever change the way I viewed the world and my place within it. The room grew quieter as the night deepened, and the whispers of conversation took on a more reflective tone. I found solace in the gentle cadence of a distant piano, its notes carrying with them a melancholic beauty that resonated with the soul. In that delicate interplay of sound and silence, I recognized the universal yearning for connection, a desire to be seen, to be understood, and to find meaning in a world that often felt indifferent to our struggles. I took a moment to close my eyes, allowing the music to wash over me, and in that brief interlude, I felt an overwhelming sense of clarity. It was as if the chaos of the outside world had been momentarily suspended, replaced by an intimate understanding of the human spirit and its infinite capacity for both joy and sorrow. Eventually, the time came for me to step away from the gathering, to retreat into the night with a mind buzzing with questions and a heart brimming with anticipation for what might come next. As I left the venue, I paused at the threshold, taking one last, lingering look at the room that had revealed so many hidden facets of life. The cool night air greeted me as I stepped back onto the bustling city streets, a stark contrast to the warm, secretive embrace of that upscale haven. In that moment, I felt a profound shift within me, a realization that I was no longer merely a chronicler of the ordinary but an active participant in the extraordinary tapestry of human existence. I walked through the city with renewed purpose, each step echoing with the promise of further discoveries. The digital alert had served its purpose well, guiding me into a realm where every shadow held a story, every whispered secret was a testament to the beauty and complexity of life. My mind raced with the possibilities of what lay ahead, and I knew that this was just the beginning. The experience had ignited a fire within me, a determination to explore not only the mysteries of that night but the myriad hidden stories that the world kept locked away behind closed doors. In the hours that followed, as I retraced my steps through familiar streets now transformed by the memory of that secret gathering, I felt a deep connection to the city itself. It was as if the urban landscape had revealed a secret language, a series of symbols and signs that spoke to the heart of every seeker of truth. I recalled moments from my past investigations, the times when I had stumbled upon forgotten alleys, abandoned buildings, and neglected corners that held echoes of lives once lived with passion and purpose. All these memories converged on that single night, weaving together a narrative that was both intensely personal and universally resonant. My thoughts wandered as I navigated the labyrinthine streets, each step a reminder of the delicate balance between the mundane and the mysterious. I found myself questioning the nature of secrets, what it meant to keep them hidden, and how the act of revelation could transform not only the teller but also the listener. In that quiet contemplation, I understood that the true power of a secret lay not in its concealment, but in the moment it was finally brought to light, a moment that held the potential to change lives, alter destinies, and redefine the boundaries of what we consider possible. That night, as I finally returned to the solitude of my apartment, I sat at my desk and began to transcribe the events in my notebook with a feverish intensity. The words flowed onto the page in a torrent of raw emotion and unfiltered truth. I knew that this was only the beginning of a journey that would challenge everything I thought I knew about love, desire, and the hidden realms of human experience. Each line I wrote was a step deeper into a world that was as intoxicating as it was elusive, a world where every digital alert, every whispered invitation, was a doorway to a secret life waiting to be discovered. Even as I penned the final lines of that evening's account, a sense of anticipation coursed through me. I was aware that the path ahead would be fraught with uncertainty and danger, yet it was a path I felt compelled to follow. The digital alert had not only opened a door to an upscale venue or an intimate dinner, it had opened a door to the very essence of life itself, where passion and mystery intermingled in ways that defied explanation. I lay awake long into the night, the events of the evening replaying in my mind like a vivid dream from which I was reluctant to awaken. In the quiet moments before sleep finally claimed me, I reflected on the profound impact that one seemingly innocuous message had had on my life. It had stirred in me a desire to explore, to question, and to embrace the unknown with an open heart. I realized that the story unfolding before me was not just one of secret gatherings and forbidden dinners, but a larger narrative about the pursuit of truth in a world that often prized conformity over authenticity. With that thought anchoring my restless mind, I drifted off into a sleep filled with vivid images of candlelit rooms, hushed voices, and the unyielding pulse of a life lived on the edge. As dawn broke the next day, I awoke with a renewed sense of purpose. The digital alert had set into motion a chain of events that I was determined to follow, no matter where it might lead. I spent the morning reviewing my notes, rereading every detail, every observation that had been etched into my memory. There was an urgency in my work now, a calling to peel back the layers of mystery that had been so artfully laid out before me. I understood that what I had experienced was not merely a fleeting moment of intrigue, but the first chapter of a narrative that promised to reveal hidden truths about the human condition. In the days that followed, I began to receive more cryptic messages, snippets of information that hinted at further gatherings, secret rendezvous, and more intimate settings where the boundaries of societal norms were blurred beyond recognition. Each new alert was like a thread in a vast tapestry, and I was determined to follow every one of them, piecing together the larger picture of this clandestine world. I spent countless hours researching obscure references, cross-referencing names, and following leads that took me into the heart of the city's most exclusive enclaves. With every step, the sense of wonder and anticipation only grew stronger, fueling my determination to uncover the full story behind these secret reservations. That initial night, with its mesmerizing blend of elegance and enigma, had become a symbol of possibility, a reminder that even in a world dominated by routine and predictability, there existed hidden pockets of passion, mystery, and profound human connection. I carried that memory with me as I navigated the complexities of my daily life, each mundane task now tinged with the promise of undiscovered secrets waiting just beyond the next digital alert. And so, with pen in hand and a restless heart, I embarked on the next phase of my journey, ready to delve deeper into a realm where every whispered secret, every clandestine dinner, was a testament to the enduring, unyielding power of the human spirit. I know that I stand at the precipice of something far greater than a mere series of clandestine events, a transformation that will forever alter the way I see the world, and more importantly, the way I see myself. The digital alert that had so unexpectedly intruded upon my life had opened a door, and now, with a cautious yet fervent resolve, I was determined to walk through that door, embracing every secret, every hidden story, as a vital part of my own unfolding narrative. The journey was just beginning, and as I set forth into the unknown, I knew that the path ahead would be as challenging as it was exhilarating, a journey defined not by the destination, but by the countless moments of revelation and the indelible mark they would leave upon my soul. Every step I take, every conversation I overhear, reinforces my belief that the most profound stories are not written in the headlines of newspapers or the sterile pages of official reports, but in the quiet, unguarded moments where the human heart dares to reveal its deepest truths. And so, as I prepare to dive further into this enigmatic world, a world where digital alerts become gateways to forbidden dinners and upscale rendezvous, I carry with me the conviction that some secrets are meant to be uncovered, that every hidden reservation holds within it the promise of a story that is waiting to be told. With each new alert, with each clandestine meeting, I am not merely an observer. I am an active participant in a narrative that transcends the ordinary, a narrative that pulses with the raw, unfiltered energy of life itself. I step into this next chapter with a mixture of trepidation and exhilaration, fully aware that what lies ahead may challenge my perceptions, my beliefs, and even my very sense of self. Yet in that challenge, I see the possibility of rebirth, a chance to rediscover the world in all its chaotic, unpredictable beauty. And so, with a determined heart and eyes wide open to the marvels and mysteries that await, I continue on my path, eager to embrace every secret, every hidden moment of wonder that this new, clandestine world has to offer. I remember the chill of early autumn as I found myself drawn back into that secret world, a world where every digital alert was a whisper of intrigue and every hidden dinner promised to unravel yet another layer of mystery. The memory of that first night still clung to me like the fading notes of a beautiful, melancholic melody, and it wasn't long before my phone vibrated with another message, a new invitation to a realm of further secrets. This time, The alert was even more cryptic, its words laced with an urgency that hinted at both danger and possibility. I hesitated only for a moment, recalling the thrill of that previous evening and the myriad emotions that had overwhelmed me. With cautious determination, I accepted the invitation and prepared to immerse myself in an experience that I sensed would challenge everything I thought I knew about desire, deception, and the fragile balance between light and shadow. Navigating through the familiar maze of the city's backstreets, I felt a sense of déjà vu mixed with anticipation. The coordinates led me to a nondescript building tucked away in an area that managed to combine both old-world charm and modern sleekness, a fitting stage for the drama I was about to witness. As I approached, the building's exterior appeared deceptively modest, its weathered bricks and dim lighting betraying no hint of the opulence that lay within. My pulse quickened as I crossed the threshold into a narrow corridor lit by the soft glow of recessed fixtures. The air was heavy with the mingling aromas of spiced incense and polished wood, an intoxicating blend that evoked memories of secret libraries and hushed confidences exchanged in hidden rooms. Inside, the atmosphere was charged with an energy that bordered on the surreal. I found myself in a long, elegantly appointed dining hall, its high ceilings and intricately patterned mosaic floors speaking of centuries-old traditions and clandestine gatherings. The tables were set with an almost obsessive attention to detail, fine porcelain, gleaming cutlery, and crystal glasses arranged with a precision that suggested an artful ceremony. Soft strains of a haunting melody resonated from an unseen source, enveloping the room in a sense of timelessness. Guests moved with a languid grace, their expressions both guarded and intensely focused, as if they were fully aware of the significance of each moment they shared. I took a seat at one of the less conspicuous tables, a deliberate choice to remain both a participant and an observer. The seat was perfectly positioned to catch fleeting glimpses of conversations, to record the subtle interplay of glances and half-spoken words. It was here, amidst the gentle clink of glasses and murmured laughter, that I began to piece together the narrative unfolding around me. The diners, a curious blend of aristocrats, enigmatic entrepreneurs, and bohemians draped in designer couture, exchanged stories that were as multifaceted as the emotions that painted their faces. Some spoke in riddles, while others recounted tales of personal triumph and heartbreak with a sincerity that made the night feel all the more real. One figure, in particular, captivated my attention, a man whose presence seemed to command the room without effort. His dark eyes, intense and searching, met mine across the table for a fleeting second, a silent acknowledgement of a shared secret. His name, as I later learned through whispered introductions, was Adrian, a person whose reputation for navigating the world of hidden rendezvous preceded him. Adrian exuded an air of mystery and quiet confidence, a blend of wisdom and youthful daring that made him the ideal guide through this labyrinth of emotions and subterfuge. As the evening progressed, our paths crossed repeatedly. In one instance, he approached me with a half-smile that spoke of shared understanding, and in another, our brief conversation was punctuated by a moment of deep, unspoken recognition. It was as if our lives had been converging toward this point, a juncture where past experiences and future possibilities intermingled in ways that defied explanation. Conversations around me deepened in tone as the courses of the meal arrived. Each dish was a masterpiece, a fusion of exotic flavors and traditional techniques, carefully designed to awaken the senses and evoke memories of lost loves and long-forgotten dreams. I found myself marveling at the artistry of the cuisine, the delicate balance of spices and textures serving as a metaphor for the intricate interplay of emotions present in the room. The act of dining became a ritual, a silent conversation between the chef and the diners, each bite a reminder of life's transient beauty and hidden depths. As the courses continued, I noticed subtle shifts in the behavior of the guests. The initial air of genteel reserve gradually gave way to a palpable intensity. Secretive smiles were exchanged with a furtive glance, and the room's energy grew charged with an undercurrent of anticipation. In hushed tones, fragments of conversation revealed hints of ulterior motives, tales of lost fortunes, whispered scandals, and promises made in the dark. I found myself recording these nuances in my ever-present notebook, each detail a piece of a puzzle that was slowly coming together, yet still shrouded in ambiguity. The night deepened, and with it, the nature of the gathering evolved. A sudden change in the lighting transformed the dining hall into a stage for a series of unexpected performances. Soft, theatrical lighting bathed the room in warm hues, and a group of performers emerged from the shadows, acrobats, musicians, and even a few poets who recited verses that resonated with raw emotion. The performances were not mere entertainment, they were expressions of the very soul of the evening, encapsulating the spirit of secrecy and the beauty of forbidden experiences. I felt as though I were witnessing a carefully choreographed ritual, one that celebrated the complexities of human existence while daring its participants to confront their innermost truths. Among the performers was a young dancer whose movements were both graceful and provocative, as if each step was a deliberate challenge to the conventions of society. Her eyes, bright and filled with a mix of defiance and longing, met mine in a fleeting moment of mutual recognition. It was a silent invitation to share in the magic of the moment, to let go of inhibitions and embrace the liberating power of the unknown. In that moment, I was reminded that the essence of the gathering was not merely to reveal hidden reservations or to indulge in forbidden dinners, but to provide a space where authenticity reigned and every participant was free to explore the boundaries of their own identity. The hours slipped by in a haze of conversation, performance, and introspection. I found myself engaged in deep, unguarded discussions with other guests, conversations that ranged from the mundane to the metaphysical. One gentleman, whose demeanor was both somber and enigmatic, recounted his journey through personal loss and eventual rebirth. His narrative was punctuated by moments of raw vulnerability, and as he spoke, I felt the weight of his experiences resonate with my own hidden scars. It was as if each story shared in that room was a mirror reflecting the universal human experience, a tapestry woven with threads of pain, joy, regret, and redemption. At one point, the room fell silent as a figure of regal bearing stepped forward to address the assembly. His voice, deep and resonant, commanded attention as he spoke of the nature of secrets, of the courage required to face one's own inner demons, and of the transformative power of embracing the unknown. His words, delivered with a measured calm, had a profound effect on everyone present. I felt as though the very air in the room was charged with possibility, each syllable a spark that ignited dormant hopes and stirred long-forgotten desires. In that moment, I realized that this gathering was more than a series of clandestine dinners and secret reservations. It was a crucible where the raw essence of human experience was laid bare, inviting all who were present to confront the truth of their own existence. Even as the night reached its crescendo, I sensed that there were deeper layers yet to be unveiled. The digital alert that had drawn me here was merely the beginning, a breadcrumb leading into a labyrinth of secrets that spanned far beyond the confines of the dining hall. My mind raced with questions. Who orchestrated this elaborate gathering? What were the hidden connections between these individuals, and what greater purpose did their clandestine meetings serve? Every interaction, every whispered confession, seemed to hint at a larger narrative, a secret society of sorts, bound together not by wealth or status, but by a shared commitment to embracing the raw truths of life, no matter how painful or beautiful they might be. As the evening drew to a close and the final notes of the haunting melody faded into silence, I found myself reluctantly stepping out into the cool night air once again. The city lay before me in a familiar, yet somehow transformed light, a place where every shadow and every flickering street lamp held the promise of another secret waiting to be discovered. My thoughts churned with the memories of the night, a whirlwind of sights, sounds, and emotions that left me both exhilarated and introspective. The encounter had not only deepened my understanding of the clandestine world I had inadvertently become a part of, but had also forced me to confront the complexities of my own identity, the ways in which I had long suppressed desires in favor of a safe, predictable existence. Over the next several days, I couldn't shake the feeling that the night's events had been a prelude to something even more profound. Each digital alert that arrived on my phone carried a hint of mystery, a promise that the story was far from over. I began to receive messages that spoke of future gatherings, events set in different locales, each with its own unique atmosphere and hidden agenda. One invitation mentioned an abandoned estate on the outskirts of the city, while another hinted at an underground soiree held in an Art Deco building lost to time. With each new alert, my determination to unravel the full tapestry of this secret world grew stronger, even as I became increasingly aware of the risks involved. In the days that followed, I immersed myself in research, poring over obscure references and following up on leads that connected the dots between these clandestine events. I discovered a network of individuals, artists, intellectuals, and even a few disillusioned executives, who seemed to be the lifeblood of these gatherings. They spoke in hushed tones of a movement that sought to reclaim the raw, unmediated experience of life, to break free from the sanitized, superficial narratives that dominated mainstream society. I began to sense that these secret dinners and hidden meetings were not merely social events, but acts of rebellion, an assertion that the most authentic parts of our humanity could only be found when we allowed ourselves to embrace the forbidden and the unknown. One evening, as I walked along a rain-slicked street and replayed the memories of that dinner hall in my mind, I encountered a stranger who seemed to have emerged from the mist. Dressed in a long, dark coat and carrying an air of quiet authority, the stranger's eyes held a glint of recognition that sent a shiver down my spine. He stopped and regarded me with an intensity that felt both familiar and unsettling, as if he had been expecting me all along. Without uttering a word, he pressed a small, intricately carved card into my hand, a card that bore a symbol I recognized from my earlier investigations. The symbol was an enigma in itself, a fusion of ancient sigils and modern design, evoking the duality of tradition and innovation. In that silent exchange, I felt the weight of destiny settle upon me, as if the stranger had sealed my fate and bound me to this ever-deepening mystery. That night, as I sat alone in my modest apartment, the rain tapping gently against the window and my thoughts swirling like a maelstrom, I contemplated the significance of these encounters. Each event, each secret meeting, was drawing me further into a realm where the boundaries between public and private, between known and unknown, were dissolving before my eyes. I felt the exhilarating pull of danger and the promise of revelation, a magnetic force that compelled me to continue on this treacherous path, despite the risks. The stranger's card, now clutched tightly in my hand, was a constant reminder that I was no longer an outsider looking in, but a participant in a narrative that defied conventional explanation. In the quiet solitude of the early morning hours, I resolved to follow the trail of these cryptic symbols and elusive clues, determined to uncover the true nature of the network that orchestrated these secret gatherings. My journal became a repository of every detail, every half-whispered conversation, and every fleeting glance exchanged in the dimly lit corridors of forbidden venues. I documented my encounters with a fervor born of both curiosity and an almost desperate need to understand the forces that seemed to be reshaping my world. Every night, as I transcribed my thoughts and observations, I felt a growing sense of both excitement and trepidation, a realization that the deeper I delved, the more I risked unearthing truths that might forever alter my perception of reality. The days turned into a blur of relentless investigation, punctuated by moments of introspection and sudden, electrifying encounters. At a discreet cafe hidden within a labyrinth of narrow lanes, I met a woman whose eyes sparkled with the same fire of rebellion that I had seen in the eyes of those secret society members. Her name was Elena, and she spoke with an earnest passion about a collective movement, a group of individuals dedicated to exposing the hypocrisies of a society that prized appearances over genuine experience. Elena's stories were both inspiring and haunting, filled with accounts of clandestine meetings in abandoned warehouses, midnight art installations that defied conventional aesthetics, and philosophical debates held in the ruins of forgotten buildings. As she spoke, I sensed that her convictions were rooted not in a desire for notoriety but in a profound yearning to reclaim the lost intimacy of human connection, a connection that had been eroded by years of institutional control and the relentless pace of modern life. The more I learned, the more I realized that this secret network was not confined to a single city or a single type of experience. It was a living, breathing organism that spanned continents and cultures, a testament to the universal human desire to break free from the constraints imposed by a rigid society. In private conversations with Elena and others I met along the way, I discovered that some of these gatherings were held in transformed spaces, a derelict warehouse turned into a vibrant art gallery, a secluded mansion resurrected as a haven for intellectual discourse, or even an underground club where music and performance collided to create an atmosphere of ecstatic rebellion. Each venue carried with it its own lore, its own set of rituals that, while seemingly disparate, were united by a shared commitment to unveiling the raw, unvarnished truth of our existence. As I delved deeper into this world, I began to understand that every digital alert, every hidden invitation, was a fragment of a larger mosaic, one that depicted a society struggling to reclaim its soul in the face of relentless modernity. I found myself caught in a delicate dance, balancing the thrill of discovery with the ever-present risk of exposing truths that were meant to remain hidden. There were moments when I questioned my own motivations, wondering if the pursuit of these secrets was a noble quest for truth or merely an indulgence in the darker corners of human nature. Yet, even in my moments of doubt, the allure of the unknown proved irresistible, a siren call that promised both danger and transformation. Now, as I sit here recounting these events with ink-stained fingers and a heart still pounding with the echoes of that fateful night, I realize that I have crossed a threshold from which there is no return. The journey has taken me far beyond the boundaries of a simple investigation. It has become an exploration of the self, a quest to unearth the hidden depths of desire, loss, and ultimately, redemption. Every face I have seen, every whispered conversation, has left an indelible mark on my soul, a reminder that life, in all its complexity, is a tapestry woven from moments of vulnerability, defiance, and the relentless pursuit of meaning. And so, as I prepare to step into the next chapter of this unfolding saga, I carry with me the knowledge that the path ahead will be fraught with both wonder and peril. The secret dinners, the hidden venues, the cryptic alerts, they are all pieces of a grand puzzle that challenges our conventional understanding of reality. In embracing these mysteries, I have not only come to see the world through a new lens, but I have also begun to understand the transformative power of secrets, the way in which the forbidden can illuminate the hidden truths of the human spirit. With each passing day, my resolve grows stronger. I know that the deeper I delve into this secret network, the more I will confront not only the enigma of those who orchestrate it, but also the unspoken truths about myself, truths that have long been buried beneath layers of conformity and guarded expectations. In this pursuit, I have come to cherish the delicate interplay of risk and revelation, the bittersweet flavor of a life lived in the margins of society, where every digital alert, every clandestine dinner, is a step towards reclaiming the lost fragments of our shared humanity. The night's final echoes still resonate within me as I close my eyes, envisioning the faces, the voices, and the fleeting glances that have now become part of my own story. I know that the journey is far from over, that the network of secret gatherings will continue to challenge me, offering new mysteries to solve and new truths to uncover. And in that uncertainty lies the very beauty of it all, a beauty that reminds me that, in embracing the unknown, we are truly free to experience the world in all its raw, unfiltered intensity. Even now, as I pen these words, I am haunted by the promise of the next invitation, the next hidden venue, the next clandestine dinner that will force me to confront the paradoxes of desire and danger. I am aware that with every revelation comes the risk of being forever changed, that the price of uncovering these secrets may be a permanent alteration of my own identity. Yet, I cannot turn away from the call, cannot resist the magnetic pull of a mystery that dares me to step beyond the boundaries of what is known and safe. In that delicate balance of risk and reward, I find both the exhilaration of a life lived on the edge and the sobering truth of our inherent vulnerability. The digital alerts that now punctuate my days are not just notifications, they are beacons guiding me deeper into a realm where the conventional world dissolves into fragments of passion, ambition, and raw, unadulterated truth. With every step I take along this treacherous path, I grow more aware of the transformative power of secrets, and I embrace the notion that the most meaningful connections are forged in the crucible of the forbidden. I press on, fueled by a burning desire to understand, to experience, and to document the shifting landscape of human connection in a world that often seeks to suppress its own contradictions. And as I continue to traverse this labyrinth of clandestine encounters and whispered promises, I am reminded that every new digital alert is not merely an invitation, it is a call to awaken, to confront the hidden depths of my own soul, and to ultimately embrace the full spectrum of life's dazzling, dangerous beauty. The morning after that rain-drenched night, I awoke with a profound sense of both weariness and exhilaration, a cocktail of emotions that had become my constant companion since that first digital alert had steered my life off its predetermined course. As the early light filtered through my window, I sat quietly, reflecting on the tangled web of secrets and revelations that had enveloped my existence over the past few weeks. The clandestine gatherings, the whispered conversations, and the enigmatic figures who had come and gone had left an indelible mark on my soul, urging me to push further into a realm where vulnerability and desire intertwined with danger and transformation. It was in that fragile moment of introspection that I realized I had reached a turning point in my journey, a point where the hidden truths I sought were poised to burst forth like a long-dormant spring. The digital alerts had become more frequent, each one a portent of an experience that promised to tear away the masks that society so carefully constructed. I now found myself straddling two worlds, one of stark, everyday reality and another that shimmered with the possibilities of a secret life, rich in passion and peril. My days had become punctuated by anticipation, as I awaited the next coded message that would lead me to yet another unknown chapter. That particular day, as I navigated through the familiar yet ever-changing urban landscape, a new alert blinked onto my screen, this time accompanied by a single, cryptic symbol that I had come to recognize as the insignia of the network I had been investigating. It was a signal that the final phase of this enigmatic saga was about to begin. The location indicated by the alert was not a place I had seen before, a secluded mansion on the edge of the city, shrouded in ivy and mystery. The mansion, with its weathered stone facade and wrought iron gates, seemed to stand as a relic of a bygone era, a silent guardian of secrets accumulated over generations. I arrived at the mansion in the late afternoon, the fading light casting long, eerie shadows across the overgrown gardens. As I stepped through the gates, I was greeted by an almost tangible atmosphere of anticipation. The air itself seemed charged with the weight of countless unspoken stories, each echoing through the corridors of time. I paused at the threshold, taking in every detail, the intricate carvings on the doors, the soft murmur of voices coming from within, and the faint scent of aged wood and wild blossoms that filled the space. In that moment, I sensed that I was no longer merely an observer. I was about to become an integral part of a final, revelatory act in a narrative that had consumed me entirely. Crossing the threshold into the grand foyer, I was enveloped in a space that defied simple description. The room was vast, its ceiling soaring high above, adorned with frescoes that depicted scenes of myth and mystery. Tall, arched windows allowed streams of golden light to pierce the dim interior, illuminating clusters of guests who moved with an air of deliberate elegance. Here, the past and the present converged, as if the very walls of the mansion held memories of secret societies, forbidden romances, and the eternal quest for transcendence. The atmosphere was almost tangible, a blend of reverence, anticipation, and the promise of irrevocable change. I soon discovered that this final gathering was unlike any I had experienced before. It was not merely a dinner or a performance, it was an immersive, multisensory ritual designed to challenge every facet of our understanding of self and connection. The guests, who ranged from enigmatic intellectuals to renegade artists and former insiders of the network, had all converged on this historic site with one shared purpose: to participate in a ceremony of revelation and renewal. As I moved through the crowd, I sensed that every individual here carried a burden of secrets, but also a hope, a desperate, burning hope that by baring their souls, they could ultimately reclaim something lost in the relentless march of time. I found myself drawn to a central area of the mansion where a vast, circular space had been transformed into a living tableau. In the center, on a raised dais, an elaborate arrangement of artifacts, vintage instruments, and mysterious symbols had been meticulously set up. The design was as captivating as it was perplexing. Ornate mirrors, ancient scrolls, and flickering candles intermingled with modern technological devices that pulsed with a faint, otherworldly light. It was as if the space were a portal between eras, a symbolic bridge linking the arcane wisdom of the past with the disruptive potential of the future. As I gazed upon it, I felt the weight of centuries bearing down upon me, urging me to surrender to the inevitability of transformation. As the ceremony began, a hush fell over the assembled guests, and every eye turned toward an imposing figure at the head of the dais. Draped in a garment that combined the austerity of formal wear with unexpected elements of ancient ritual, this person exuded both authority and vulnerability. Their voice, when it finally broke the silence, was at once calm and resonant, reverberating throughout the hall as if carrying the secrets of the universe itself. They spoke not in long-winded proclamations but in a series of cryptic, poetic phrases that seemed designed to awaken dormant truths within each listener. I listened, enraptured by the cadence and the profound simplicity of the words. In those moments, I felt that the barriers separating our inner lives from the external world were dissolving, replaced by a collective, unspoken acknowledgement of our shared human frailty and strength. Around me, guests began to participate in the ritual in their own intimate ways. Some stepped forward to offer personal tokens, a locket, a faded photograph, a handwritten note, each object a tangible manifestation of a memory or secret that had shaped their existence. Others simply closed their eyes and allowed themselves to be carried by the moment, their expressions softening as if they were finally releasing years of repressed emotion. I found myself trembling with the intensity of the experience, both terrified and exhilarated by the raw exposure of vulnerability. It was as if the ceremony were a cleansing fire, burning away the pretensions and masks that had kept us isolated from our own truths. In the midst of this charged atmosphere, I encountered a familiar face, Adrian, whose presence had guided me through the previous chapters of this unfolding drama. His eyes met mine with an intensity that conveyed both reassurance and a silent, unspoken challenge. Without a word, he beckoned me to join him near a secluded alcove at the edge of the gathering. There, away from the collective energy of the ceremony, we spoke in hushed tones about the journey that had led us both to this singular moment. Adrian revealed that he, too, had been haunted by the duality of existence, the conflict between the mundane routines of everyday life and the tantalizing allure of a hidden world where everything was possible. Our conversation wove through memories of past transgressions, shared regrets, and the inescapable pull of destiny that seemed to unite us all. In his eyes, I saw not only the reflection of my own doubts but also a resolute determination to embrace the unknown, to face the consequences of a life lived on the edge. As the ritual entered its final phase, the atmosphere in the mansion grew even more charged, as if every heart in the room were beating in synchrony with an ancient, universal rhythm. The host's final words, delivered with a mixture of solemnity and hope, resonated deeply within me. They spoke of transformation, a shedding of the old self to make way for something new and unexpected. There was an invitation in those words, a call to step beyond the confines of our carefully constructed identities and embrace the messy, beautiful reality of who we truly were. In that moment, I felt as though the walls that had separated me from the world were crumbling, replaced by a boundless openness that was both terrifying and liberating. Time seemed to lose its meaning as the ceremony drew to a close. Guests began to disperse slowly, each person carrying with them a spark of revelation, a memory of a moment when they had dared to confront the hidden corners of their souls. I lingered in the silence that followed, savoring the profound sense of interconnectedness that had been forged in that sacred space. The mansion, with all its historical gravitas and quiet dignity, had borne witness to a final act of defiance against the conventional forces that sought to constrain us. Its corridors, filled with the echoes of the past, now resonated with the promise of a future reimagined, a future where every secret, every unspoken desire, could be celebrated rather than hidden away. In the aftermath of the ceremony, I wandered through the moonlit gardens, each step echoing softly on the cobblestones as I replayed the events of the evening in my mind. The night air was cool and invigorating, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and blooming night flowers, a reminder that beauty often thrives in the most unexpected places. I paused by a small fountain, its gentle trickle harmonizing with the distant hum of the city, and allowed myself a moment of quiet contemplation. In that reflective solitude, I began to understand that the journey I had embarked upon was not merely about uncovering hidden social gatherings or documenting secret dinners. It was about a deeper, more personal transformation, a reawakening of parts of myself that had long lain dormant under the weight of conformity and routine. The final gathering had exposed not only the hidden lives of others but also the hidden dimensions within me. I recalled all the moments of hesitation, the countless nights spent questioning whether the pursuit of these secrets was a noble quest or a descent into an abyss of self-indulgence. Now, standing beneath the vast, starlit sky, I recognized that every step I had taken, every risk, every moment of vulnerability, had been a necessary part of my evolution. The fear of the unknown, which once paralyzed me, had gradually given way to a fierce determination to embrace the fullness of my existence, to live with an authenticity that transcended the ordinary. In the days that followed, the memory of that transformative night continued to haunt and inspire me. The digital alerts had ceased for a while, as if the network had delivered its final message and retreated into the shadows once more. Yet the impact of that final ceremony lingered in every aspect of my life. I began to see the world with fresh eyes, noticing the subtle interplay of light and shadow in places I had once overlooked, and sensing the undercurrents of emotion that pulsed beneath the surface of everyday interactions. Every conversation, every fleeting glance exchanged on crowded streets, now carried the resonance of a deeper truth, one that I had experienced in the hushed sanctum of that ancient mansion. My journal, once filled with hurried notes and fragmented observations, now became a repository of introspection and insight. I filled its pages with reflections on the nature of identity, on the paradox of desiring both connection and solitude, and on the courage it takes to stand naked before the vast, unpredictable canvas of life. I wrote about the faces I had seen, the voices I had heard, and the silent promises that had been exchanged in moments too fleeting to capture fully. In those pages, I found not only a record of my investigations but also a mirror reflecting the evolution of my own spirit. One evening, as I sat by the window watching the city pulse with life, I received one final digital alert, a simple message that read only, "The journey continues." There was no address this time, no coordinates, just those enigmatic words that spoke of endless possibilities. In that moment, I realized that my quest was far from over. The secret gatherings, the forbidden dinners, the whispered revelations, they had all served as stepping stones along a path that stretched out into an uncharted future. And though the network of hidden events might have receded into the background, the transformative impact of those experiences would remain with me forever. I began to understand that the true value of uncovering secrets was not in the act of exposure itself, but in the transformation that comes from embracing our innermost truths. The digital alerts had been more than mere notifications, they were catalysts, igniting a spark within me that challenged everything I had once believed about safety, conformity, and the cost of true authenticity. In their wake, I discovered a renewed capacity for love, creativity, and the unyielding determination to live a life that was fully and unapologetically my own. As I continue to walk this delicate line between shadow and light, I find solace in the knowledge that every secret unveiled, every barrier broken, brings me closer to a deeper understanding of myself and the world around me. The journey has taught me that life is not defined by the secrets we hide, but by the courage we summon to reveal them, to ourselves, and to those willing to share in our revelations. In that courage lies the possibility of redemption, of healing, and of a rebirth that transcends the ordinary. Now, as I prepare to step once more into the unknown, I carry with me the echoes of every clandestine meeting and every forbidden moment, a mosaic of memories that fuels my desire to uncover what remains hidden in the recesses of our collective heart. The final digital alert, though sparse in its words, has become a symbol of the unending journey toward self-discovery and the relentless pursuit of a truth that is as fluid and multifaceted as the human spirit itself. In the quiet moments before I set out again, I pause to look back on the path I have traveled. I see before me a trail marked by risk and revelation, by moments of exquisite vulnerability and resounding defiance. I acknowledge the many faces and voices that have touched my life along the way, each contributing to the tapestry of experiences that now define who I am. And with that recognition comes a profound gratitude, a gratitude for the hidden corners of existence that have taught me that to truly live, one must embrace not only the light but also the shadows. As I take one final deep breath, the cool night air filling my lungs with possibility, I step forward with the conviction that the journey is far from complete. Every digital alert, every secret encounter, every whispered promise has become a part of my soul's narrative, a narrative that will continue to unfold in unexpected and beautiful ways. In that uncharted space between certainty and mystery, I find my truest self waiting to be discovered. And so, as I disappear once more into the labyrinth of the city's darkened streets, I carry the legacy of that final ceremony with me, a legacy of courage, transformation, and the unwavering belief that even in a world filled with secrets, the power of authenticity will always illuminate the path ahead.